if you're just wanting to do a quick render for YouTube and you don't want to have to worry about changing any of the settings, then just make sure your format is set to H.264, and then you've got all of these presets here. Just scroll down to the YouTube 4K preset and you're going to be good to go. It's going to be high quality, but in my opinion, it's not the best setting. So I have a finished timeline in Adobe Premiere Pro. I know I'm going to be uploading to YouTube. What do I do now? So if you edit anything like me, then the first thing you're going to want to do is to set an in and out point, because there's all of this footage to the right of my main timeline. In fact, there's almost 2.5 hours of extra footage. I don't want to export all of that, because if you export in Premiere Pro, it's going to export that entire timeline unless you set an in and out point. Now, if there's a certain specific place that you want to do it, you can go anywhere inside the timeline and hit I, and it will set the in point, and you can go to another spot and you can hit O and it will set an out point. But the easy way to set an in and out point on the entire space that you want to do it is to just highlight that whole area and hit the slash or question mark button, and it will set an in and out point automatically at the beginning and at the end of the last clip that you selected. Now we're going to be uploading to YouTube, and YouTube actually has some recommended encoding settings. The container that it wants is an MP4, the audio codec that it wants is AAC, and then the video codec that it wants is H.264, and if you click in there, it gives you a little bit more detail. Progressive scan, no interlacing. If you've been into video for a long time, you know what interlacing is. If you haven't, then you don't need to worry about it. And then frame rates. It's basically telling you you can use any standard frame rate you want, 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, or 60 frames per second. Now, the bitrate is going to be the most important part. This is going to determine the quality of your video. Using standard frame rates, YouTube is saying they want a 35 to 45 megabit per second video. And if you're using a high frame rate, then they want a 53 through 68 megabits per second video. And that's for SDR video. We're not really worried too much about HDR. Just know that if you're shooting HDR video and you want to upload to YouTube in HDR, then you're going to need to add about 5 to 10 megabits per second. Now, personally, I want to caveat this because I've had some experiences uploading to YouTube in HD and in 4K. Now, it doesn't matter the bitrate that I've done in HD, it always looks worse than 4K. And that's even true when I upscale HD to 4K and upload to YouTube. I've actually done side-by-side comparisons where I take the same video on my computer, just locally in the files, and then take the video that I uploaded to YouTube and play them side by side, and the one in YouTube in HD plays worse than the one on my computer that is also in HD. But when I upscale to 4K, I don't seem to have that problem. So I would recommend that you upscale to 4K every time you do a render. The other recommendations that YouTube has here is for resolution and aspect ratio, basically saying it doesn't matter, and then the color space. That's very scientific, and if you don't know what any of this means, then you don't need to worry about it. If you haven't gone into your settings and changed anything, then you're going to be in this color space, so don't even worry about any of this. Now, once we're here and we've got the in and out point set, we're going to hit Command M inside of Premiere Pro. It's going to come up with our render window here. Now, if you're just wanting to do a quick render for YouTube and you don't want to have to worry about changing any of the settings, then just make sure your format is set to H.264, and then you've got all of these presets here. Just scroll down to the YouTube 4K preset and you're going to be good to go. It's going to be high quality, but in my opinion, it's not the best setting. Let me explain what this section actually does. So VBR one pass. VBR means variable bitrate. The target is for the target bitrate for the entire thing. The maximum bitrate is like a speed limit. It's going to tell the video you can't go past this. If we look down here at the estimated file size and we jack up this maximum bitrate, you'll see that the estimated file size didn't change much. But if we take this down back to 40 and then take our target bitrate up, now you can see that the estimated file size changed dramatically. This is the setting that I normally do when I'm going to upload to YouTube. I'll usually do a variable bitrate one pass at 50 megabits per second or a little bit higher, just depending on how much action there's going on in the video. The other option is to use CBR, which is constant bitrate, which forces everything to be at a constant bitrate the entire time. It doesn't matter what's going on the screen. And if you go up here, you'll notice that my encoding changed to software encoding. And if I go to hardware encoding, it's going to tell me my system hardware doesn't support constant bitrate. Okay, hardware encoding for me is the best, fastest way to do it. You can get a little bit better quality by doing multiple passes with variable bitrate, and you'll keep your file size reasonably low. So if I switch to VBR 2-pass, now it's going to give me these two options again. I never use this though, and that's because it switched to software, and that's going to be slower, plus it's going to actually render this thing 2 times. But my experience rendering at these high bit rates, you don't see much of a difference doing multiple passes. So I always do 1 pass at about 50 megabits per second. So what I want to do now is I want to render this same video at different bit rates and see if we can see the difference. So I realized after I rendered these videos that the cuts are a little fast and you may not be able to really dig in and see a difference here. So I've uploaded all 5 of these videos as separate videos, unlisted, here on YouTube. The links are in the description if you really want to dig in and see the difference. Let me know in the comments which one you thought had the best quality. Could you even tell in YouTube? I'm not sure, but let me know in the comments, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. You've got 5 options. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I'm doing something in the month of October 2021 where I'm uploading a video every day. So if you don't want to miss a video that I upload, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so that you don't miss one of the videos that I'm uploading, and give this video a like if you got something out of it. We'll see you guys in the next video.